The police now believe that Smollett staged his own attack, which would be insane. But you have to admit, there's a certain part of the story that was always a little weird. Like, who are the MAGA supporters who hate gay people, who hate black people, but also happen to watch Empire? Like, I've heard of hate watching, but that would be next level. It's like a member of the Klan buying tickets to Fiddler on the Roof, just like, look, I'm no fan of the Jews, but you gotta admit, they can play a mean fiddle.
That's The Daily Show's Trevor Noah, who my daughter loves.
Yeah.
They all love him. That was him the other day, pointing out the absurdity of the initial story from actor Jussie Smollett. And this morning, there are new developments in that case. The Empire star is facing charges this morning for allegedly filing a false police report, claiming he was the victim of a hate crime attack. According to the chief communications officer for the Chicago Police, felony criminal charges have been approved by the Cook County State Attorney's Office, and detectives are working to contact Smollett's legal team to negotiate a reasonable surrender for his arrest. Smollett filed a police report in Chicago on January 29th, claiming he had been assaulted by two masked men who shouted racist and homophobic slurs. He also said they put a rope around his neck and poured a white substance on him. Surveillance footage appears to show Smollett's associates, Abel and Ola Azundai, purchasing ski masks, gloves, and baseball caps right in front of the camera there. NBC5 Chicago spoke with the security guard who identified the brothers. NBC5 reports that they testified to a grand jury yesterday. A spokeswoman for the Cook County State Attorney's Office tells NBC Chicago that Smollett would face probation. He could face it up to 3 years in prison if convicted. He is due in court for a bond hearing this afternoon. Smollett's attorneys have responded to the charges with a statement, reading in part, like any other citizen, Smollett enjoys the presumption of innocence, and that his team plans to mount an aggressive defense.
Mika, so listen, that due process that we talk about applies to him. So let's wait till all the facts are out, and wait before convicting him on TV.
Right, but let's talk about what didn't happen.
Let's talk about what did happen after the initial reporting. It's something that you have been talking about for a year and a half. That while celebrating the emergence of the Me Too movement, you've always talked about the importance of due process instead of mob rule. You talked about it nonstop during the Kavanaugh hearings. You warned Democrats. You warned many people on the left on Twitter. You warned many journalists to stop not only accusing Kavanaugh, but convicting him on TV. Everybody's saying, well, he did it. He had to do it. He had to do all of it. The gang rapes, you know, the spiking punch, the orgy rooms, all the outrageous stories that followed an initial accusation. And here we are again. A TV star comes forward and throws all of these charges out there, and everybody wants to believe them, and they jump on them, and they don't stop and actually wait for all the facts to come out.
Yeah. And I think that this is a problem that I worry Democrats will overreach on a case or on a situation. I think they did with Kavanaugh. I do. You know, I can give my opinions about the case, but you know, my opinions as to whether or not something happened to the victim in that case is not important to the entire process. Our feelings are not due process. Our sense that we get, I don't know, a sense of say about how women have been treated over the years through a case is not due process. And it's the same here. Is it possible that an African-American man would claim falsely that he was attacked because of the color of his skin? That he would make up that Trump people came after him and beat him up? Is it possible a man can do that? Of course it is. It may be in this case. It may not. And in other cases as well that have come to the fore, that have come out. That, you know, there are allegations, and allegations are exactly that. That's all I'll say. And I worry Democrats will give Trump exactly what he wants if they play this game and they don't stand by the law, by due process, and also move society forward and take part in movements. I hope that makes sense, but I've been worried about Me Too, and I worry at the ramifications of this case.
Yeah, and you were saying before also that, again, with every case, whether it's something like this or with Me Too, whoever's coming forward may be telling the truth. They're also capable of lying. Men and women are capable of lying. And you have to sit back and wait for all the facts to come in. And again, as we always quote Barry Weiss, not allow mob rule to overtake due process, because if we do, then what happened in Kavanaugh, where Claire McCaskill and several other Democratic senators who were running for re-election will tell you, will they not, Mika, as she did, that spectacle cost her re-election?
Absolutely. And Willie, it's complicated, obviously, because I think when a woman steps up to the plate or to the table and explains something that has happened to her, I think my instinct, of course, is to believe her. Who would do that? But in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of the truth, playing with believing versus due process, well, we're in an age where the truth is at stake. The truth is in jeopardy because of President Trump. And I feel that Democrats, they've got to be even better, and it's hard.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that goes for the press, too. I think there were a lot of people rooting for an outcome in this story, and the Jussie Smollett story, who immediately, when they heard his account, and his account only jumped on that. I think I just checked with our executive producer, Alex. I think we mentioned it twice. I look back, we did the story once on my Sunday Today show, and I said that Mr. Smollett had claimed he was attacked, and I was attacked for suggesting it was just a claim. But that's our responsibility as journalists, and we'll do that to the end of this, including right now, Danny. What do the legal prospects look like for Jussie Smollett? His defense team says they'll mount an aggressive defense, but it doesn't look good for him here.
It doesn't look good. He's charged with disorderly conduct, which we all normally think of as a low-level crime. But in Illinois, there is a felony for false reports to police officers contained within that statute. It is a Class 4 felony, up to 3 years in prison. It's a very serious crime. And the idea being that when you make false reports, you not only waste the resources of law enforcement, you also create a panic around the neighborhood that this is the kind of thing that's going on, that there are roving bands of folks beating people up, if in fact that was a false report. The other concern here is that for Smollett, there's so much digital evidence apparently against him. You have that video of his supposed Confederates buying apparently ski masks or whatever else they may have needed. This is the kind of circumstantial evidence that even if Smollett denies, if that's coupled with his Confederates testifying against him, it's going to be a very difficult case to overcome.
And these two brothers are cooperating with police as well, obviously.
Yeah, that's what it appears so far, that they are in full cooperation. And probably, not surprisingly, they may not have been in on the entire scope of what was going on.
You know, Mike, this would be bad in any city, wasting the time of police officers, draining police resources. But my God, in Chicago, it's especially bad because the crime there, the murder there, the number of children shot down by gun violence, a number of Chicago residents shot down. I mean, to be a police officer in Chicago is taxing enough without having their time wasted like this.
Yes, especially Chicago right now, Joe, because they are in the middle of a mayoral race. There'll be a runoff. I think the initial election is next Tuesday. That's playing a part in the election process. Of course, the police department under siege in Chicago. Many residents unhappy with the police department, living under the threat of the gun in certain neighborhoods every single day, 24 hours a day. And at the root of this story, Joe, we all know this combustible story is the compulsion, the cultural compulsion of the media, many members of the media, and many citizens to race in on Twitter with their opinions, their view. And it helps further divide situations. Pick up a team. Whose side are you on here? The victims or the perpetrators? What's going on? But everybody has an opinion, and it just adds to the combustibility, the original combustibility of the story.
And Joe, you know what I would just say finally to the people who did jump on and root for an outcome from day one? A good thing to do right now to rebuild some trust would just be to say, I got it wrong. Don't rationalize. Don't go back and delete your tweets. Just say, I was wrong and I learned from this, and let's have due process in all cases.
Well, you know, we all get it wrong. I mean, we get it wrong. I get it wrong all the time. And when it happens, you need to say, I got it wrong. That's exactly what happened here. There's been, again, this compulsion to jump and become part of a Twitter mob.
Or to get the interview in the world of journalism, just to get the interview.
Yeah, also
and to
just
drum up
the
drama.
I've got to say, though, also, I talked about how this was a drain on police resources. I'll tell you the other. Again, this is also a crime with larger ramifications. You look at the fact that since Donald Trump has been president of the United States, hate crimes have spiked. And now, you know, I know, we all know that there will be certain pro-Trump people on radio and on TV that will use this story as a way to discount all the hate crimes that actually are occurring out there. And that's, you know, Mika, that's what really makes this so reckless and so irresponsible. If, in fact, at the end of this process, after this actor is given due process, that will be one of the most irresponsible things of all the irresponsible acts he's committed.
We got to be better. Danny Ceballos, thank you very much for being on. I mean that collective, the media.